I want to talk to you today about the instruction that you give to the people reading your marketing material. So whether that's an email or a social media post or a brochure perhaps that you've produced. Now, the instruction that you give to people at the end of that brochure, email, social media post is incredibly important. And there are some things that I see business owners do time and time again that I want to give you some advice on so that you can stop doing it and totally ace the instructions, okay? So the first thing to say is that the instructions are simply the next step that you want people to take, okay? Especially if you are putting some kind of, buy my stuff type action around it. So whether that is to, click on a link to see the course materials, whether it is to click on a link to book a space for a webinar, whether it is to message you to find out more information or to message you to book a discovery call, whatever that is, it's an instruction. But fairly often in marketing speak, we call that a call to action. Okay, so it's kind of like the call to arms that you've got at the end of a piece of marketing that tells people what the next logical step is in terms of making that journey with you. And inherently, people want to have things presented to them in a certain way that makes things easy, okay? Because I guess as humans, we're quite obedient, a bit on the lazy side perhaps, and that you don't want to leave it up to their interpretation in terms of what that next logical step is, okay? So two issues that I see a lot when it comes to call to actions is that one, it's forgotten about, so it's just not there at all. And that's okay sometimes if it's a value-led piece. But if you're wanting to drive more sales, drive more inquiries, then you've got to put the call to action in there, okay? And then the second thing is that it's a bit woolly, it's a bit implied as a call to action. It's not direct enough. So people kind of get a bit confused as to what you're wanting them to do. So that comes to my point about call to actions. One, it definitely needs to be there, okay? Because it's one of the things that makes me really happy when I see a great piece of marketing. The second thing is, don't fanny about with it. Be very explicit and very direct in terms of what you want that action to be, okay? Because if you don't tell people what you want them to do, the likelihood is that they just don't do it, okay? And that's not what we want. So if we want to be able to drive our sales, move our businesses forward, then you've got to have a really strong banging call to action, okay? So make sure that the language is very direct, it has some urgency around it, and that it's very, very clear, okay? So have a look back at the marketing materials that you've created recently and make sure that you've got a banging call to action on there and that the language has some real power and urgency around it. So something like, click on the link below to book your place now. Okay, so that's a good example for you. Go back, let me know what those call to actions were and let me know how you get on.